Today, we are going to be talking about the novel 3-Day Road by Joseph Boyden. The novel is revolved around two best friends, Xavier and Elijah. The novel is told in a series of flashbacks from Xavier's life as he explains what he has been through to his aunt, Nancy. The two best friends enrolled into the Canadian Army during World War I. The novel accurately portrays the realities of the two friends and the issues that they faced while being Aboriginals in a Caucasian battalion. Elijah and Xavier each have their separate ways of dealing with their situations. However, Elijah's approach is much more consequential. Xavier is a noble man, which is why he seems to be deeply concerned about his friend throughout the entire novel. The novel mainly talks about their struggles throughout the war. These struggles include the loss of identity, the madness of killing, and the addiction to drugs. Elijah and Xavier both met at a residential school when they were younger. Elijah was there well before Xavier, and he was raised by nuns. Therefore, his English was better than his. Xavier faced discrimination within his brigade because of his poor language. Xavier remains to be close to his culture because his aunt Niska showed him the true Cree way of life. Whereas Xavier, he never really had a close connection to his people. Therefore, he began to lose his identity much more quicker. Elijah and Xavier became very competitive with each other. For every kill Xavier would get, Elijah would try to kill even more. Elijah loved the fame that he was getting from his brigade, so he tried to get more attention by collecting trophies. These trophies were actually sculpts of the enemies that he had killed. This drove him war crazy. Although Xavier is just as good at sniping as Elijah is, Xavier seems to be getting no attention. He dislikes it because he thinks it'll drive him mad like Elijah. As he says, I walk beside him or behind him along the trenches between stretches out hunting, but very few seem to notice me at all. The difference is Elijah wants fame and Xavier wants an escape. The two friends become addicted to morphine, but they both use it for different reasons. Elijah uses it to enhance his ability to kill and hide away his fear and emotions, whereas Xavier uses it to stay sane. The war influences them both, but these instances lead to the climax, and to find out what happens at the end, I suggest you read the novel for yourself. Back then, Aboriginal people were discriminated against and treated very poorly. They were refused the rights to vote, the rights to own lands, and the rights to be Canadian citizens. Also, their children were taken away from them at a young age and were moved to residential schools. Despite all of that, thousands of Aboriginals enlisted in the Canadian War. Many believe that they did that to reclaim their masculinity. Joseph Boyden explains that this novel was based on a true story. They were inspired by this character named Francis Pega Magabo, who was an Aboriginal that made it to a corporal position. In fact, the only Aboriginal at the time. The problems that Xavier and Elijah faced still occur today in modern war. People lose their identity, they become insane within the war, they get addicted to drugs, and even after the war, they never truly find themselves. Friendships are lost, people are lost, and even at times, nations are lost. In the novel, there are three main symbols. The lynx, which represents the keeper of spirits and power. Morphine, which represents the escape from pain. And Wendigo, a beast that hunts for human flesh. The Wendigo is compared to Elijah when he becomes crazy for killing. Even still, people within the war face discrimination. It has still been going on for over hundreds of years. Whether it may be black people, Aboriginal people, whoever, they still face it during the war. And it bothers me to still see that this is ongoing. I mean, the people are fighting for the same country. They're supposed to be brothers. They're supposed to be alongside each other in the war. War on its own is already a horrible thing, but sometimes it is necessary. We don't need people to make it even harder, to make it even worse. Because in the end, we all need each other. So help your comrade, help him through his struggles, take care of each other, and remember who your real enemy is.